Hello everyone, I'm up here in the corner, my name is Hauke and I'm the creative director at Blankhans, the studio behind Coreborn, the upcoming social survival sandbox game. I'm incredibly grateful to have you here today for our little dev update, which is just the status of a development, things that have been changed since the last update. We try to do these regularly and you will be excited to see all the things that are coming up. Coming up in regards to the next fest that we're approaching very soon, actually on the 19th of June, we will be part of Next Fest with our open beta demo for a whole week. So you can play everything you're seeing today, you can play the whole game. There is some limitations, which we'll run into when I now in a moment jump into the game and tell you about all the things that have been changed. And also, and here's the most important note, if this is the first time you're hearing about us, no worries, I'll give a little super quick run through of what this game is before I jump into the dev update. But even more importantly, please wishlist us. If you like what you're seeing today, if you know people that might like what they are seeing here or what you are seeing here, and if you feel like, hey, this is something that really interests me, we are approaching a phase in which any form of support in form of wish lists, in form of follows, of interaction with us, or just bringing attention to us is incredibly helpful. It will help us to get more traction during Steam Next Fest and to keep the development on this game going. We are an indie studio and we of course planned ahead. We have a roadmap that you can see at all times on our Discord of all the features that are coming up. This is a live service game. The servers will be live starting on the 18th of July when we go into early access. So, any questions on that? Jump into our Discord. The link is in the description where you can interact with everyone. We regularly answer all your questions. You can directly interact with everyone on the team, with me, and with all the other people that are already in our community, which is actually thousands of people who also participated in our playtest so far. That being said, let's jump right into it. Because what is this game? In this game, you are playing a survival game. You're on a survival map, you can farm things, craft things, and interact with the world. I will actually jump in now, so that you start hearing the game's audio, which will just have popped up. And I can, for example, equip all the tools. I've already crafted an axe to when I had a little bit of this. I can gather all these bushes, I can run around, and I can chop things down. This is the first change that some of the people that know this game already might have noticed. There is now notifications on everything that I'm gaining. Whenever I am doing something in this game, luckily there's no damage on these right now. Whenever you are doing something in this game, you gain experience, which is also one of the first things I want to show you, where the little bit of a mix with MMOE features comes in. There's a skill tree. You might already see there's more content coming soon because we are releasing on the 18th of July, and that's when you will be able to explore all of these. But for now, we locked them and said, hey, this is the progression you'll be able to experience in our open beta. In this open beta, you'll be able to do all of these different things: mining, logging, foraging, and hunting. And you will be able to do all the crafting things. For example, smelting and smithing, geocasting, woodworking, cooking, and also outfitting / armor crafting. We locked some of these, you'll still be able to do them. And that's where we come back to the general explanation of what survival means in this game. For example, you can craft things. But let me look at my inventory first. This is what I have equipped currently. In our game, the progression is not as in a normal survival game, where you just get cloth, then you get leather, then you get bone, and then you get rock, and then you get iron, and then you're just done and you're good. All different materials still have value. We have, as in a lot of MMOs, have qualities on our items. This, for example, is resin. As you see, there's no color behind it. It is of common quality. Then there's fine resin. It has a green little thing here, which means it's uncommon, as you might know from many MMOs. Then there is a rare superior resin, and there's also the epic flawless resin. This is for all items in the game. All armors have this, all swords have this. And I'll also get into that a little more. Your sword consists of 3 pieces, which when I open the crafting menu, you can see here. My sword has a lightwood blade, a lightwood crossguard, or a lightwood handle, or I combine them. My sword, for example, which you can see right here, is a granite sword. I have actually combined it though. Only the blade is granite, the handle is wood, and the crossguard I think I use stone, because they have different setups when it comes to the stats that are on them. Give an example. Let's look at my leather trousers. They have a gear score of 30, critical hit 16, endurance 8, and defense 6. We will, and this is the next one, also enhance what players asked for, because you might not see it now, but there was a lot of feedback from technical beta that you would like to be able to see things that changed. that will be in the recipe. We will actually do that. We'll put that in here for the text. Later you will hover over here and we'll already tell you what these items might potentially do. Let me just craft these pens real quick so I can show you. Then we go to my inventory and see they have a gear score of 28. They are a little worse than my leather pants, but that's just by luck, because every time I craft something, there's a chance it gets better or worse. And you might see on these is endurance, crit, and attack, where these have crit, endurance, and defense. This setup is locked per material. So on a leather pants or leather pieces, crit will always be the main stat, endurance be the second stat, and defense the third stat. Depending on the material you're crafting from, that changes. Same goes for swords, for example, where mine has attack, defense, and life. Oh, actually, I only build it from granite, this one. But you can also choose to mix materials to make things more unique for you. Then, and that is the last thing on this topic, there's also, of course, uncommon cloth pants will have a better gear score. There's rare and there's epics with the best gear score. And that's how you combine gear. A lot of people were confused by this and said, hey, why is my leather, for example, not better than my cloth? That's just not the case anymore. But that being said, you might have already seen it. Essence. Sorry, let me just quickly. Essence. Essence is now in the game. What is essence? Essence is up here. This is my essence counter. I actually have quite a bit, as I've already been playing quite a while on this character, as you can see by my skills. Essence is a unified currency that is not tradable. It is only on your character. Essence is needed. Also, who's so loud here? Let's get away from this guy. Essence is a unified currency that you use for all sorts of things. For crafting things, for upgrading your town, and for resetting your skills at some point. If you want to respec or like reskill. Essence is granted when you fight things. When I fight that guy over there. When I gather anything. Like, for example, right now, I'm not sure if bush is even granted, but let's just go for the tree. I have 1008 essence. If I start chopping down this tree, I actually fully chop it down. This time, you'll see that I have 1012 now. Depending on how hard the material is to get, where it is, what it does, and how many times you interact with it, the essence you gain from something is different. But you will always gain essence. Then, when you want to craft something, all of these are set to 0 now. Later, there will be actual cost on them. You will see that they require a certain woodworking bench, for example, and certain amounts of essence. This being a shrivelwood blade, for example, dark wood. You might already see there is a lot of different materials in this game. There's 3 wood types alone. And then there is different stone types, there's different metals, and so on and so forth. That being said, all of this sounds very confusing, right? There's a lot to learn. That's why we updated F1 again. F1 is a basic help page. We decided to eventually make it a journal. So when you travel the world, it will start growing. The more you find out about the world, the more information this journal contains. Instead of not putting it in there at all, which we initially decided, based on your feedback, we said, how about for the early access and for the betas, we just give you a lot of information and then we slowly make it more intelligent where you start collecting information. So this contains info on general things, on the controls, general gathering, crafting, building, combat, towns, biomes, creatures. There will be pictures in here. It will get better and better and we will make it more intelligent. Just wanted to let you know, as a lot of people said, why did you take F1 out? We did not take that out. It was just not in the technical beta. Next big change, directly related to feedback. Let me just quickly check the time. Awesome, we're looking so good. This is actually the 3rd recording, because every time I was a little stupid and did something wrong. But now, finally, I'm also good with time. When I press M, I see my map. On my map, I see T's now. T's mark little towns. Of course, that will be a prettier icon. This is still not the final map. We will still polish it a little bit, and the icons will get better. And I also see myself, this little yellow marker. Once I start walking around, you see that marker starts to move on the map. It is a lot more accurate now than it was in technical beta, and generally just works better. Our final idea for this map, though, is that we do not want to put that much information on it. We want you to find that. We want to give you markers where you decide where to put something. That is because this is still a sandbox game. We want you guys to be able to craft your server and shape it in a way that is interesting to you. And that's, again, for people watching this for the first time, this is one survival world. There can be, let's say, 50 to 100 players assigned to it. 20 to 30 of them will be live at the same time. Then there's Coreheim, our major city that you can travel to. And there you can meet everyone. And we want you to make your survival world unique. This map, you should be able to, for example, repair this bridge over here, and then someone else can put a marker there and say, hey, this is where the cool bridge town is. And your little bridge town is just as important as the big town up here of Piper's Whistle, for example. That's why we are very stingy with putting markers ourselves, and we want to give you a lot of opportunities to say, hey, I want to make my map intelligent, maybe even share it with other players and let them know, this is where you find a resource, this is where a cool town is, and this is where that is. To the size of this map, I'm not sure if I already mentioned it, because I recorded this so many times, but this map is already quite big. It is roughly 14 square kilometers right now. I think it actually got a little bigger. I think that's roughly a third of the map of Skyrim, for example. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. I might absolutely be wrong about these numbers, because I've kept repeating them. I should Google them once. Anyways, it is still big enough. It will take you several minutes to, even if you just straight up walk and ignore all the enemies, which you shouldn't, to roam the whole map, and we will keep expanding it. You might see this big shield. We will keep pushing that out in both directions, and maybe even this direction. At some point the map will get bigger and bigger, more nations will come, and more maps will be added. Anyways, let me walk over to the next thing, because yes, a lot of people also said when it comes to the map size, the map is beautiful, and I think so too. This is actually one of the more empty environments in here, and still it looks gorgeous. There's been constant changes. This is per design quite empty. We will see some more lush environments in a moment. Also, there's some cool stuff over there, but a lot of people said, hey, I want more things to discover. There's two main things that we're going to build that will serve that purpose, but both of them will most likely not be in the early access launch. Not right at the launch, but we are putting some of them in phase 1, so we will keep expanding things. Basically, that's pits and events. A pit being, and some people described it as that, kind of like a softcore open world dungeon. Basically, areas where there's enemies roaming around. I can go in them, but I have to commit to them. They will constantly attack me. It's not as easy to build a house there, for example. Might even be impossible because they just constantly attack. And then there is events. Events being, let's say, for example, on this map, now suddenly an area pops up here that says, oh, this town, which is Piper's Whistle, is under attack. Please come and defend it. And if you do that, there's a progress bar of 100%. If enough people help, it's kind of like a social quest, where then once it's done, you get a reward and it's over, and an event somewhere else pops up. These events will be different depending on the week you're in. Sometimes new ones appear, old ones reappear, and they just change a lot to keep things interesting and make you being interested in logging in regularly to see what new content might be there. Additionally, though, we didn't want to say this map is just empty, so we added lore sites. Lore sites are little areas, that's a hard one for me to pronounce, and I invented the term. Lore sites are little areas that give you a little background into the quite deep lore of this world, because we are in Tormentosia. That's where the Ultracore is, in Coreheim, and basically this world was at some point attacked by Sorgoth the Devourer, the bad guy of this world. You'll hear about him in a moment more in this presentation. And Sorgoth basically attacked, and then the nations came together and built the Ultracore, which makes that shield happen, which all the way over there spans, and you can even, when you walk here, you can see it on the map, and protects us right now. And we are here to reclaim and regather. And there's a lot more lore, and we don't want to force it on you. There will be some cutscenes maybe, but we don't want to constantly tell you about everything. So we would rather have you find out yourself. And for that purpose, we put voice NPC in, for example. We'll walk towards this guy, listen to him, and then I'm going to explain more.
Pierre Clyde has gone too far. He thinks I purposefully leave my trash cans out on the curb longer than necessary just to annoy him. It's called forgetfulness, not a personal vendetta.
So you might have seen he's not moving very much, no lip sync. We are working on that. Of course, we'll keep polishing that, and I can't iterate that enough. We are, or can state that enough, we are an indie studio. We are not a AAA developer. We are doing our absolute best to keep this interesting, to make it a unique world and make it fun. And every time I walk up to him...
You know why the people left the sawmill? P.O. Clyde deliberately chose paint colours for his house to clash with everyone else's around here. He thinks I spend hours contemplating shades just to irk everyone. It's all in his imagination. Ain't nobody got time to repaint his house that often.
He seems to have a feud with someone, and while we walk over to that someone, so I can show that to you, I want to explain. This is a generated voice. Most of you might have already caught that. We will have recordings with better quality by actual voice actors, and because we are an indie studio, we made use of the fact that there is the possibility to record voices ourselves, generate them, and be much faster. Because It might not seem that much, but it is really hard for us to just constantly get people into a speaking booth, to write all these texts, to iterate on them, to polish them, to also everyone that does that has to sign an agreement for us. It is not as easy as it seems. And even if you would now say, oh, I'm willing to do this, I would gladly help, give my voice, even that isn't that easy. That agreement has to be signed. That agreement is incredibly complicated. It might lead to legal troubles. It is sadly very complicated to do that. This is a very easy and very efficient solution for us. And that's why I think the quality is quite solid. Let us know how you feel about them. You might find some where you're like, and you might find others where you're like, oh, that's actually pretty good. And as I said, I don't want to show too many of them today because there's also some that we recorded ourselves or that influencers recorded for us. And especially the influencer ones are very fun. And if you find them in the open beta and you know that influencer, absolutely please make a clip, share it with them on social media, because all of these are people who are close to us, who care about this game, and they will be very happy to see that someone found their voice recordings. There's some in there that in my opinion are so good it is really hard to catch that they are that person. Like, that's for us the most interesting alternative because their microphones are great and they're good at acting. But let's listen to this guy.
Zoid's accusations are beyond absurd. He thinks I'm responsible for the sawmill shutting down because I accidentally tripped over a log once. Well, I didn't know my clumsiness had such far-reaching consequences.
Well, so these two seem to hate each other, and that's basically the little lore behind this sawmill. You can learn that this was seemingly abandoned. They mentioned that people left. Why that happened, maybe you'll find out later in an event, but at least you can already learn a little bit about it. And well, let me just run to the next area that I want to show you something in, because there is more. The next thing that I want to show you is combat. And a little disclaimer. Combat has, since the beginning of our development, been the most critical feature. It's been criticized a lot. We've never really been happy with it. We never came close to the vision that we initially had. But we never completely abandoned that vision, because I think we just never were able to show you what we're trying to aim for here. And I think, and for that purpose, I'm just going to attack this guy and get him over here where we can see well what he's doing. Oh, wait. Oh, there he is. This has been a lot of improvement. Let me just quickly show. And I'll be silent so that you can hear and see what I am doing. Oh. You might have seen there's some clipping and stuff still going on, but the most important changes we now have, and I'll actually, oh, I made myself invincible. I quickly changed that. What a cheater. You might have seen that, I want that stuff. That they now have telegraphs. These creatures now do anticipations. I'll just attack one again to show you. You'll see that he does a scream or like a stomp, which shows me that's coming. I already know where to dodge, but you will learn that about these creatures over time. All of them have different attacks. You can also try to dodge. If you do it wrong, it will hit you in 2 phases. And if there's more people standing there, you'll actually do that again and again. It does depend on what are you doing to them, where are you standing, what types of attacks they do. There's not all of them is not properly set up. This guy, for example, you see I clip into his head a little bit and everything, but it is already so much more fun. Then I can left click, right click, attack, and I can even wait until the last moment. If I then press Q based on the last attack that I did, I do a finisher. For example, that cool knockback. All creatures will get some of these. We will keep improving it, and especially during the open beta, share feedback. Tell us, do you feel like, hey, that's easy, that's too hard, the damage is too high, the damage is too low. And you might have seen we put in health bars. We want a smarter system eventually, but for now we felt like it feels better to just know where I'm currently standing. This is placeholder, we will make it prettier, we will change things about it, but open beta will for the first time feature a version of our combat where I feel like, yeah, I would like to hear your opinion on that. There's a lot of tuning that is still open that we have to do, but I think it will be so much better. Oh, damn, can I actually... I'm not sure if I can... Oh. Yeah, I can. Perfect. I will just go to a different biome because I want to show you the next thing while I explain combat a little more. The idea being that you learn over time what creatures do. Some of them have ranged attacks, some of them have charge attacks. We will make some of them a little stronger or weaker. That guy was actually a little too weak considering that I'm kind of wearing low tier gear. Like, my gear could be a lot better. but you will get stronger when your gear gets stronger. You find better resources, like for example this Royalite right here, and make better weapons out of them, or just other weapons with different stats, and you might find out, actually against this big guy, you saw me dodge quite a bit, maybe more endurance so that I can dodge more and be more agile is actually a pretty good build against them, or maybe since they're so slow, I feel like easy, I can dodge that quite fast, why not just constantly hit him with a very high attack value? And we want to create a system where that starts feeling impactful, where your personal skilling starts to matter. But anyways, just wanted to show some updates on that. There's been a lot of changes. Next thing. And yes, I have to hurry a little bit because of time. I prepared this town because I want to show you a few things. For everyone watching this for the first time, this is my town. I basically marked this area on the map. Out of here, that belongs to everyone. In here, that is my little home. So basically, everything I built here, only I can interact with. And here's the first important change. People asked for it. Before, you could just press X and things were gone. We got rid of that. If I now press it and hold it, it does something. I'll do it again. And if I actually keep holding it, it eventually destroys the piece. The same goes for blueprints, for example. If I put this blueprint down, now I can actually hold it and it is destroyed. Also, we changed stability. We are still in the tuning process, but for example, and I am cheating, that's why I don't need specific resources right now. So basically I can put this down. We'll see, oh, that's actually pretty okay still stability wise. So I can put this down, no problem. Let me just quickly put some stairs so I can get up there. Tuck, tuck. Perfect. And let's get up here. Once I put this on here though, you will see the color change. It has gotten a lot more red. This indicates, that's still possible, but when I put it up there, you see dark red, because certain sets are not possible to just put on the ground and not outside of towns. And once I start setting up things and try to put them somewhere where the stability is not high enough, they will actually start not being possible to place anymore. This should still work, because we increased the height. Oh, but that is already pretty damn red. One more red and it doesn't work anymore. That's the limit of this thing. So basically, this is the highest this set can build. Important, because a lot of people seem to have not noticed this is possible. On the F1 page, if you go to building, it will explain, oh no, sorry, it's under controls. Here, it will explain the building controls. Let me give you a quick summary. Looking at a piece with a hammer, pressing the middle mouse button, copies that piece, the piece you're just looking at. If I take a piece and hold down shift and start, like I can unlock the snipping. A lot of people said, oh, why is there no snipping? There's snapping, snapping meaning that I can set something next to a piece. I think our initial idea was we want to give you freedom. So when I look here, it won't snap. The yellow dot here has to go to that yellow dot there. And then it snaps to that piece. If I put the yellow dot to that yellow dot, it snaps right here. And if I put it right there, it snaps right here. If I don't want to do that, I can hold down shift and then I can put it wherever, without it snapping to anything. Let's say I want to, for example, put it like, no problem at all. Like, perfect, that worked. Also, we put in indicators now. If I'm standing here and it doesn't work, it shows a little, dude, you are the problem. If another player would be standing here, it would also show that. So we improved that quite a bit. Now I want to show you rotation, because a lot of people seem to have not fully understood that that is a thing. If you hold control and turn the mouse wheel, I can rotate pieces like this in any angle I want. If I just turn the mouse wheel usually, it can rotate in any angle I want. If I do the same thing with holding shift, for example, with alt, then it rotates like this. And yes, all these pieces can actually put into place. We are still working on the stability of this because it is a little confusing that some of this works, some doesn't, but we will improve that over time. All of this is possible, and we want it to be possible. We want you to be able to be creative about things. But and now let's go to the limitations. Of course, with the stability system, once you destroy this, everything on it will be destroyed. Let me show you something. Us building raised the wrath in this town. Towns now have different functionalities. We completely changed how town attacks work. I mentioned Sorgoth a while ago. Sorgoth is the bad guy outside of the shield. This is the dust nations. You see this red mist crawling in. That's where the Gothkin live, the bad guys of this world. These Gothkin hate that you're repopulating. They hate that you're reclaiming things and that you're rebuilding. And originally our idea was every few hours they come and attack your town, and you can delay that or not. Now we changed it, so this wrath, once it's at 100%, will trigger a town attack. We're still tuning them. I'll not show one today, but I'll do that on the next dev update / you'll be able to play it. Basically, once that wrath reaches 100, you will be attacked. quite obvious. And based on the level of your town, this being a level 1 town, the attack will be weaker or stronger. And you can now level your towns up by, it says here, items required, for example, which is, that's the level up to a next town. I need a certain amount of members, 1, a certain amount of essence, the icon being wrong here, 400, which I actually have. And I can, so for example, now say, hey, actually, I have that essence, so why not put that in there? And easy, confirm the resource transfer. So it's already in there. Also, same with the resin, 16, I think I do have enough, so why not all put it in there? Problem solved, it's already in there. So these requirements, of course, a lot of UI work still to do, but you see there is already a lot that has improved here. Once you level up your town, that also creates Wrath, and the town attacks will be stronger, but it also unlocks new crafting stations, which is how you progress in this game. It is not only your personal progress here, it is also your item progress that you saw here on your inventory, and additionally there's also the progress on your town, which you can see right here. Towns will most likely have around 30 levels. Each level unlocks new things or might at least give you some benefits. And then there is thresholds where this town center, for example, gets bigger or smaller or other things change. That being said, I think that's actually everything on towns. Coming to one of the last pieces that is important, which is server travel. A lot of people did not understand the concept, and let me iterate again. There's 3 worlds in this game. Basically, there is adventures. And to give an update on that, in the last update I said, we do not expect adventures to be part of our early access launch. That is still the case. We have made some progress though, and let's just see. Maybe we can bring it with early access launch. Maybe we can bring it quicker after early access launch than we initially anticipated. Either of those are great. We just want to assure quality. What are adventures though? Adventures are, and I'll just say it even though it isn't absolutely true, let's say they are kind of like dungeons. They are instanced, you can make a group with friends or with random people that you found in the game or that you find through our matchmaking and just jump right in. Then for 20, 30, 45 minutes, you just enjoy gameplay there. You get loot, you get progress, you get things that you can bring back to your homeworld. Your homeworld being this, the survival map of Ambros. And you can get items or schematics, or like schematics being recipes that are unlocked. And all of that is possible through adventures. Then, as I already mentioned, the survival map, that's where we're currently at. On this map, there's around, let's say you share it with 50 to 100 people in total. And then around 20 to 30 of those can be live at the same time. These numbers will change over time because, for example, when people drop out, which is completely normal in the launch of a small survival game, we expect a lot of people to initially come in. Some of them will get bored and maybe return at a later point, or they just feel like I've played through everything. Totally fine. We will then increase these numbers so that your server is never empty. And that is the important part. We do the matchmaking. You do not have a server. You do not host servers. You don't have to pay for them. We host the servers. We assign you to a server. And if your friends want to play with you, initially we had quite a complicated system. We simplified that a lot. Now you press P. P opens my friends menu. And I can now here directly click on it. And I can say, join Roxas server, for example. I don't want to do that right now because then I will be server transferred. Once you transfer to a different server, you lose progress in your town. Your town is gone. Everything in it is gone. It will still be on the server, but you will not be on that server anymore. That's not a gigantic problem. You can potentially jump back if other players still play on it, but you might have to reapply to all the towns. You basically were not there. But this is such a fast and efficient way to play with your friends. Once you start playing, and let's say I joined and my friend Roxa, who we just saw on the list, joined, and we are not assigned to the same server, it is 2 clicks, we're on the same server and can start our experience. We'll spawn in different locations most likely, but no problem at all. I can easily just run over to him because now I have a map and I can play with him. That makes things so much easier. That being said, the last one that we haven't talked about, and I'll try to transport there real quick, it might crash because early build or like internal build, but let's see, is Coreheim. Coreheim is our social hub. In Coreheim, you can meet everyone from all the other survival servers. Every time you go into Coreheim, you'll be matchmaked with a higher amount of people, let's say 40 to 60 or something, and you can trade with them, interact with them, you can maybe be invited to their server, and you can just do all these things. Currently, Coreheim does not offer that many activities, but we will eventually bring an auction house in there and other things that are interesting. And Coreheim is from where you go on these adventures. There will be NPC or things to interact with, and these you can then can go to and sign up for adventures and other things. Also, there's generally music in this game. I just deactivated it for this recording. You will also see some changes, and hopefully, that's actually the Ultracore that I mentioned so often. What a beautiful device. This is creating that shield that is protecting us all. But this will also, in the open beta, already feature at least a bare bone form of a tutorial, and we will actually have something like narrative cutscenes. It is not, well, you'll see. I don't want to spoil too much. Just saying, we will do some changes to this still too. You will experience a little different jumping ability, like a little jumping experience to the game. But this is where you will spawn, and I'll actually do that for you guys. You will walk down here. You will be guided towards that, and this is where you can meet everyone from the whole population of the game. And that guy down there then brings you back to the survival world. Once you talk to him, he'll teleport you there. I want to say that again. This is what differentiates this game. So often people ask us, what's different? What's special? Why should I play this and not Valheim or something else? And actually, I make my microphone a little more quiet in the last parts because I'm now very loud. And the answer is quite simple. The answer is that this is a different construct. We are not doing the same thing that Valheim did so great, for example. We are also not doing the same thing that a World of Warcraft did. We're neither only a survival game, nor are we really even an MMO, which is a term that kind of we accept because it explains some of the ideas. We are a social survival game. The idea of you being able to play with your friends, with people that might become your friends, or with complete strangers and just enhance each other's experience in the survival map, or in the survival world, while also experiencing regular content updates, as you might know them from MMOs, and playable content, plus a progression that is lined up a little like a survival game, but still feels like an actual character progression. And we will feature more weapons at some point, quite in time, hopefully, which then also will have more of these skill trees that you saw when you press, actually, no, I made the game, I think crash, but who cares, we're over anyways. That you will basically then be able to experience with weapons and with all other aspects in the game, and be able to constantly enhance your experience and that of others. And I think that's where I can end this and just iterate one last time. In less than a week, we will be in our open beta, have a lot of people enjoying this game. If you like this game, please wishlist us. You would help us so much. Ideally, wishlist it right now. The week before the upcoming Next Fest might be the most important in the history of this game, actually, as it will determine how many people get to see this, how much we stick out of the masses of great games that are part of the Next Fest, and join our social channels, interact with us, tell people that you think might like this about it. We cannot say how thankful we are for the support we've already received, for the thousands of people that have already wishlisted this. It's looking great. We're looking ahead into a bright future together. And, actually, the game shut down. Great point to end it. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.